What's so funny over there? Apparently some Republican women are horribly outraged by the fact that leftists are, get this, wearing red lipstick. Do they seriously have nothing better to do? Well, apparently red lipstick has this whole history of feminist protest. It was outlawed in the 18th century and, what? It's definitely not illegal, it just makes men write stupid angry letters to the newspaper. Oh, sorry, but it was also handed out at a suffrage march? No, that would have been way too transgressive for the image we planned. Does that mean it also wasn't an anti-fascist symbol during World War II? Oh no, that bit is absolutely true. It was part of military uniform to keep morale up, offered to camp survivors to help them feel like individuals again, and the cowardly little dictator apparently couldn't stand it. So we can wear it to protest? Yep.
Gimme!
Okay, but this video is absolutely based on a reel that I saw a few weeks ago one morning while drinking my coffee. You can check out Potty Mouth Pollyanna's original video up here or at the link in the description. This was actually the first I'd heard of red lipstick as an act of protest in the present day US. So, time for a makeup history deep dive. Welcome to SnappyDragon. I'm V, fashion historian, cosmetologist, and longtime wearer of red lipstick. Of course I'll take the excuse to dig into the feminist and anti-fascist history of my favorite cosmetic. So what is actually going on with red lipstick as a current political symbol, and how much is the far right trying to engage with it? It seems that much of this is coming from a TikTok movement where applying red lipstick, regardless of gender, is used to symbolize protest against the current US government and fascism more generally. I do want to say, if somebody's protest starts and ends with wearing red lipstick, or any other aesthetic symbol, that isn't likely to do a whole lot, but the point of symbols is that they represent greater beliefs and actions. Otherwise, the symbol would be meaningless. So hopefully your views show up in other parts of your life than your makeup. Also, I don't spend any time on the clock app, so y'all get to fill me in the comments. Even if I'm missing details on the current trend, I feel like this video can stand on its own. And of course, MAGA types are acting like they're the victim of something and getting mad about it. It's not like anyone can really own the practice of wearing red lipstick or any common aesthetic statement, but symbolic associations and cultural narratives around that symbolism are powerful, and they don't like this one. In my opinion, good! If you're pissing off fascists, you're doing it right. Regardless of any protesting, what I love about red lipstick is the boost you get from it, that extra confidence and energy and feeling just a bit more like you can take on the world. You know what else can give you a boost? A well-fitting bra. I actually got so tired of uncomfortable bras last summer that I learned to sew my own, but you shouldn't have to make a bra to have a good bra. That's where this video's sponsor, Parade, comes in. Parade makes fun and functional bras, underwear, and apparel, much of it from recycled fibers. They have a variety of colors, fabrics, and style options from high-quality everyday basics to colorful prints that are an amazing pick-me-up, even if you're the only one that sees them. I got the Replay Triangle Bra in 8-ball, a black bralette that's a good, solid basic with mesh details and made from buttery smooth rescued materials that would otherwise go to waste. By the way, I'm a 30 double D in standard bra sizing, and their extra small bralette fits me well, with really good support. If you prefer underwires, they also do bras with those. I like Parade especially for their fun fabric options, so I got the silky mesh triangle bralette in Astrology 2. It'll be perfect for layering under tops with cutouts. Both bralettes have matching undies, which come in a variety of cuts from high coverage to barely there. If you too could use a boost, use my code DRAGON30 for 30% off your Parade order, no minimum purchase. Although, if you like these styles, best go get them before they sell out. Will they be as comfy as pajamas? I'm not sure any bra will be as comfy as pajamas, but these are the next best thing. I'll try it tomorrow. I want to go through the history of the various points mentioned in that reel I saw, because cool as this all is, unfortunately, some are myths. No shade to Miss Teets, these are super well-established myths, and the fact that we have these myths does speak to the power of the idea. So, was red lipstick outlawed in Britain in the 18th century? Did Elizabeth Arden hand out red lipstick at a women's suffrage march? Was it an official part of the American military uniform in World War II because it raised morale and upset the little mustache man? Let's find out. If you want source notes from this video, you can find those on the SnappyDragon Patreon. And also, make sure you stick around for a personal announcement at the end of the video. What, showing them your underwear wasn't personal enough? Oh, please, that's practically expected of me at this point. Let's begin with the outlawing of red lipstick in the 18th century. Or should I say the supposed outlawing? This appears to be misinformation, and shockingly well-established misinformation at that. It's up there with that nonsense about the ancient Celts and Britons wearing dreadlocks. Click up in the corner if you want to see that particular myth getting deconstructed. An issue of the English publication The Spectator from Tuesday, April 17th, 1711 is an often cited source, beginning with a letter from a man who wants to divorce his wife because she looks too different without makeup. Ugh. That said, neither the letter nor the article actually refer to a ban against lipstick, just the usual take her swimming on the first date sort of nonsense dressed up in 18th century clothes. An Africa Check article locates the only possible legal precedent for this myth, a bill introduced in British Parliament on June 17, 1650, titled Immodest Dress, which never actually received a reading. That bill also doesn't specify lipstick, but reads, that an act against the vice of painting and wearing black patches and immodest dresses of women be read on Friday morning next. It is true that red was among the most common colors for lip makeup at this time. LBCC Historical does reproduction cosmetics from this era and others, most made from original recipes adjusted for modern ingredients and safety. They have several 18th century lip colors, most of them sheer reds, and we see sheer red rouge on cheeks and lips in many upper-class 18th century portraits too. So while somebody certainly tried to ban red lipstick, among other cosmetics, it wasn't in the 18th century and it was never actually made law. So what I'm hearing is, cruddy men haven't changed since the 18th century? I know, right? So unoriginal. The story of Elizabeth Arden in 1912 giving red lipstick to women marching for suffrage does unfortunately appear to be another myth, this time with a solid dose of marketing hype. Makeup historians Hilary Belser of the Makeup Museum and Lucy Jane Santos on her own site have broken this myth down extensively. I absolutely recommend you read their full articles, but I'll sum up the key points. Firstly, much of the info on this story comes from representatives of the Elizabeth Arden brand, without any solid historical evidence given. Secondly, both of the suffrage marches associated with this story were documented extensively, including the fashion branding chosen by the suffragettes, and nowhere was red lipstick mentioned. Visible makeup was not common at this time, especially in America, so it would have been a big deal. Thirdly, the two lip products specified, the Venetian lip paste and lip pencil, didn't appear to exist yet. Belser mentions finding no records of these products before 1919 and says that while it's possible they were being made in small batches for select clients, that wouldn't allow to handing them out to thousands of marching suffragettes. In essence, this story is marketing for the brand, a way to associate their product with feminism and say they were part of the women's rights movements before it was cool. We'll come back to the suffragette movement later, but yeah, this is why it's good to fact check any claims made by someone who's trying to sell you something. Yet another thing that hasn't changed a century or more later. Yeah, it's almost like I don't have to say it anymore. Thankfully, though, the history of red lipstick and anti-fascism is not all myth. Tietz wasn't wrong about the little mustache man. Rachel Felder, a makeup historian who wrote a book on the history of red lipstick, states that Hitler famously hated red lipstick. In an interview with The Takeaway, makeup historian Madeline Marsh elaborates, the Aryan ideal was a pure, scrubbed face. Visitors to Hitler's country retreat, lady visitors, were actually given a little list of things they must not do. Avoid excessive cosmetics, avoid red lipstick, and on no account ever are they to color their nails. One quick caveat about both of these historians' work is that they do repeat the myth of Elizabeth Arden giving out lipstick to marching suffragettes. Ordinarily, I deal with this by tracking down a primary source, but as you can imagine, researching anything about the little mustache man's preferences gets very fraught very quickly. What is solidly documented is the prevalence of red lipstick in Allied efforts to keep up morale. Perhaps the most famous was Elizabeth Arden for real this time, and Helena Rubinstein, both being commissioned by the US government to create cosmetics for American women in the military. Montezuma red lipstick was the result, which matched the red trim of the uniform for the Marine Corps Women's Reserve. For civilian women, the brand released Victory Red, and other brands followed suit with a variety of patriotic names. It kept morale well up for civilian women as well. Those working factory jobs often had to work in coveralls, safety goggles, and headscarves to remain safe around machinery and explosives. Cosmetics like lipstick were one of the few means of self-expression available. Mustache Man was such an insecure little prick. Sensing a theme, are we? Yeah, that fascism is the refuge of men who know they have nothing at all to recommend them in a world where others had free choice? Precisely. While researching this, I came across one more unexpected story of red lipstick's importance during World War II, and it's a harrowing one. If you need to skip discussion of the Holocaust, go to the timestamp on screen or click the link in the description. I first found this story in a Newsweek article by Alice Hart Davis, referring to the diary of Lieutenant Colonel Mervyn Willett Gonin, DSO. While the diary is not currently visible online at the Imperial War Museum site, a significant portion of it is available at bergenbelsen.co.uk, a project aimed at making information about the camp and its liberation more available. Gonin's diary, in an entry recording the horrors of the camp conditions even after liberation, says, "It was shortly after the British Red Cross arrived, though it may have no connection, that a very large quantity of lipstick arrived. I wish so much that I could discover who did it. I believe nothing did more for those internees than the lipstick. At last, someone had done something to make them individuals again. They were someone, no longer merely the number tattooed on the arm. At last, they could take an interest in their appearance. That lipstick started to give them back their humanity." I don't think there's a whole lot I can add to drive it home any further. If you hear anyone dismiss the importance of being able to care for and make choices about one's own appearance, feel free to refer them to this diary. But for all its power, red lipstick has patterns of intersectionality in its history, like just about everything else. It's assigned different meanings depending on who wears it and who sees it. The suffragette movement, especially the American one, had serious issues of racism, whether or not they ever wore red lipstick. They famously excluded black women, or outright threw them under the bus. For more on that, I made a video in the past with Orlin, which you can check out up there in the corner. Furthermore, red lipstick has been sexualized in a negative way on wearers of color in a way that it hasn't on white women. Responding to the myth about red lipstick and the suffragette marches, cosmetics historian Gabriela Hernandez, who founded Besame Cosmetics, says the only women of color who wore lipstick at that time were performers in nightclubs. In the same fantastic Allure article by Marilyn Lajeunesse, Regina Merson, owner of the brand Reina Rebelde, says a red lip on a white woman tends to be perceived as classic, polished, and elegant. On a Latina, a red lip is perceived as something totally different. Saucy, ethnic, loud, overtly sexual, and sometimes even tacky. Danielle Odemar, who is Filipina, recounts being discouraged from wearing red lipstick by her mother and grandmother, saying, "I realize now that their perspective stemmed from a deep, unspoken concern that my race could be perceived in a variety of ways to the unknowing eye, and therefore it was always better to play it safe." This double standard adds insult to injury, considering that the Western cosmetics industry has a long history of failing to serve wearers of color. Just like many hairdressers aren't taught to care for curly and textured hair, many makeup artists, salespeople, and companies historically gave no thought to non-white clients, or thought that serving people of color would damage their brand with white customers. Salon owner and makeup artist Carmen Murphy is believed to have developed one of the first makeup lines focused on black women, after her business proposal was rejected by major beauty companies like Avon, Helena Rubinstein, and Revlon. However, in recent years, red lipstick has been reclaimed not only for personal wear, but for political protest by women of color. A Chilean movement protesting against sexual and gendered violence combined red lipstick with black blindfolds in 2019. And in Nicaragua in 2018, an anti-dictatorship movement united around the name Red Lips after activist Marlene Chow referred to it when under police interrogation. It even transcended gender norms, with men sharing photos in red lipstick to participate. Red lipstick's relationship with femininity makes it especially powerful when it comes to gender norms. Actress and journalist Eva Rain, recalling an early experience trying her mother's red lipstick, says, "As someone assigned male at birth, this was incredibly frowned upon. I was immediately punished." She describes the difficulty of reclaiming red lipstick during her transition, balancing very real safety concerns with the importance of reclaiming autonomy and power and pride. So, Will the simple act of wearing red lipstick take down the patriarchy, destroy fascism, and free us from this capitalist hellscape? No. But symbols are nonetheless extremely important. Red lipstick makes us feel powerful. And not powerful in the women can be strong just like men way, but powerful in a way that doesn't frame femininity as weak or shameful or less capable. The power is coming from femininity, not despite femininity. And that matters a lot in a world that's treated anything feminine as inherently weaker and of less value. One of the biggest things we can do right now is keep morale up, keep up our sense of community and connectedness. Things suck. But if we feel isolated and powerless, it becomes that much harder to keep fighting. Red lipstick will not fix all your problems. It will not fix the entire world's problems, but it might give you the boost you need to fix one problem, or just get through the day so you can try again tomorrow. It might help someone else feel like they're not in this alone, that they can be who they are, that they belong, that they have power. Writer Meg Ann, whose books I have not read, but whose post on the subject I enjoyed, says the following. Here's the thing about small, noticeable acts of rebellion. They can be the difference between someone giving up or realizing that they are not alone in the fight. Fashion has always been political, both in the material realities of clothing production and because humans are so good at finding and making meaning in everything we do. So wear the frocking red lipstick, whatever it means to you. Unless you're a fascist, in which case, it's ours. Die mad about it. Beyond just wearing red lipstick and living up to the values it symbolizes for us, now is an extra important time to buy your red lipstick not just from women-owned brands, but brands owned by people of other marginalized identities too. I want to again mention Besame Cosmetics, whose owner I quoted earlier. They're a Latina-owned brand that makes fantastic reproduction vintage makeup, including some of those anti-fascist shades from the 1940s. I only just found Reina Rebelde during my research for this video, but their stuff looks amazing as well. And The Lip Bar, a Black-owned brand that does some of the best long-wear liquid lipsticks I've ever worn, such as what's currently on my face. These are not sponsored at all, by the way. I just like them. If you know of another, tell us in the comments. And if not, tell us about your favorite form of resistance through fashion. Let's make this comment section the best repository of anti-fascist fashion tips out there. So now for that personal announcement I mentioned. Thanks for sticking around for it, and likewise, thanks for sticking with me with this channel. It's been over 5 years that I've been making fashion history videos as SnappyDragon. I have loved sharing my research and my creations, and this channel has literally kept me going through becoming disabled enough I couldn't do my previous job. However, it's time for me to set this project down and move on. I am so proud of what I've made, from the silliness to the socially relevant to the sewing to making the sort of content that I needed to see in the world as a Jewish girl interested in costuming and looking for her place in history. This is going to be the last of my regularly scheduled fashion history rants, and I'm actually really happy that this is the note I get to go out on. I'm hoping to be able to do one last really cool costuming project as my goodbye to this channel and this phase of my life. Stay tuned for more info on that, particularly over on Patreon. Thank you so much for being the best audience a YouTuber could wish for. You've inspired me, informed me, challenged me, and you've been such an amazing community for each other. I keep hearing that my comments section is the nicest someone's ever seen on YouTube, and that's because of you. I might not be putting out videos anymore, but that community you've made isn't going anywhere. So keep sewing! Watch videos from people you haven't heard of. Watch videos from people I haven't heard of. You are literally what fashion history YouTube is made of. And I have no doubt that you will keep using that power to make the world better and more beautiful. I think we've all realized by now that I am awful at keeping up my social media, but I'll say it anyways. You can find me around the internet at Miss SnappyDragon on Instagram, Facebook, and very occasionally on TikTok. At least for now. And that's probably where you'll find announcements about that last really cool project if I'm able to do it. I'll see you down in the comments. Bye. I'm gonna miss them. Me too, friend. Me too.